Welcome to another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. I'm your host, Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo, and the first thing I want to say is I'm sorry that I got the pricing wrong on the Vanduul blade. I assumed that it was going to be $90 to, at most $150. I thought if I was wrong, but at $250, I'm going to do a whole video about that myself, and I may come to terms that that's what it is. What you see here is me playing with level of detail. I'm not sure if they put this in here as an example of LOD and how it works in the universe, or if they just screwed up. But it's kind of funny that you just walk away, and as you walk away, your tires on your rover go up. I'm going in here just for a second because I want to take a look at the Starfarer. I do not own one, but I think that through a glitch, they're letting everybody take a look at the Starfarer, and I'll tell you how to put it into your hangar. If you are in the PTU, all you need to do is go over to the PTU website, go into your hangar, remove all ships from the hangar, reinitialize it, and leave no ships in your hangar. Go back into the game, and when you come into the game, the Starfarer will be in the center of the hangar, in the hangar that it's not supposed to be in. This is not the super large hangar for it. Those with it have a different method of getting it in there, but this is for us. The ship is huge. The ship is gorgeous. I'm going to go back to my original statement about the blade first. This ship was $195. The blade is $250. You make that work and tell me how that works. I don't care how rare it is, but when it comes down to it, I think the blade is not going to be much better than a Gladius, which is $90. And I will be a hypocrite on this one. I will wind up having a blade because I think it is oh so freaking gorgeous. But you know what? I'm still a little bit annoyed with ship pricing, and I guess once you set pricing at a certain level, you got to follow through on that inside this game. So let's get moving into what is now my favorite large vessel, my only large vessel in the game. I can't wait to actually walk around some of my friends Idris after seeing this. I do have some points that are going to sound negative, but they're just constructive criticism. I think that they still design ships like they're big ocean liners instead of spacecraft, and that is a big issue inside of a game that takes place in space. So let's get on with this particular tour of the Starfarer. So we're going to take it down the bottom of the ship and go straight up, and right in front of us is going to be the entryway into the main internal cargo bay where you can actually take dry goods. Now supposedly you're going to be able to trade out these liquid containers over here for other items, but you know, let's go do what everybody always wants to do the minute they get a cargo vessel, and go get our floating gray cat. Right, he's floating, right? And we get closer, and there's his wheels. Oh my god, that is so awesome. It knows when we're coming and puts the wheels down. And that's pretty awesome. Alright, so we get in, and we're going to go forward. And there is more than enough room in this to park one of these. So as I'm parking, I just want to say the size of the Starfarer has grown over time, and one of my friends last night was telling me that it might have been because inside of Squadron 42, there's supposed to be a big battle that takes place in one of these Starfarers. I guess that would be at the Xi.An mining base. I don't know. Anyway, that is something that might have made the ship grow. So originally it might have been a smaller ship, and the reason why it grew was because they needed it as an asset for the game. So this is that main area. You have two doors off of it, and you have the big giant hatch in the back for getting cargo on board. So you can store probably about twice this amount of items in here, maybe 3 times the amount of items as a freelancer, a standard freelancer, which I think is fine. And if you take more dry good containers on the outside, that might be good. But this is a liquid tanker, so it will be taking liquid beryllium, liquid like water, fuel. Forward of this is the EVA area, and there are some pieces of this that are kind of weird. There's no stations for EVA suits or anything once you get in there. All these cargo nets, you know, maybe this is where you find your EVA suits, who knows, but when you come in here, you have 2 doors to get out. It looks like 2 screens. I'm not sure what's exactly in front. Is the docking collar down below? There's one screen, there's docking collar. It does work. There you go. I'm not sure what's in front of you. Maybe those are lockers. Anyway, so that's it. And I'm pretty impressed with it, but have just those minor questions. Like, where are the suits? Suits might be held there. You got enough seats for 12 people in here. I'm sure you could put more. You can almost put a large contingency of Marines in here if you wanted to. This could almost be a kind of like a troop ship in disguise. Here's my first issue. In a ocean liner, you'd have these big giant stairwells. You would not have that in a naval vessel or a merchant vessel. You would have smaller ladders with railings, especially on a ship like this. And this ship would have railings along the sides everywhere. As we go in and go down the center, this is the gantry outside, and this is access to all your different pieces of the ship. This over here, of course, is a lift up into the engineering bay. We will use that later. And down here, access to all the different fuel pods that you're carrying, or liquid pods. Now, supposedly, you're supposed to be able to carry a refinery. I don't know how that works. Look how tall this vessel is. It's almost as tall as that second window over there, the office. The first window, I should say. So let's go back the other way. Pretty cool. So far, I like it. It's a gorgeous ship. So we're going to go back through here, and we're going to go up into the engineering bay. It's tough. They still have some issues with getting onto different lifts. We had this issue with some other ships. I had it with the 300 for a while. I had it with the Hornet, trying to get into the Hornet. And I had it with the Merlin when we first were able to play with it. And all those things have been fixed, so they will fix the hitboxes for those. This seems to be another EVA area because you have 3 ways out of the ship. So my major issue with that is you're so close to the gravity generator, and you're using a lift that goes down, and it pretty much exposes this whole area to space, when things like this in here obviously have airlocks. So kind of confused as to why those lifts work. Maybe they don't work when you're in space. Maybe they only work when you're on the ground. Anyway, there's what I believe to be the power plant right there. And you're in the center of the ship and then going outwards. So now we're going to go rear. Let's go rear. And this is... we have 2. I forgot that I did this. We have 2 of the escape pods over there. As we go forward, we have the stairwell down to the deck. And then we should have access here. There's another hitbox problem. To the upper level. So we're going to go talk about the upper level. And here's where I have another suggestion. Over here you have crew quarters. They're off of the galley. And you have 2 bathrooms, which I think is a waste. In 2942, I'm sure you'd be using a unisex bathroom. You have 6 bunks. Pretty awesome. A little bit of storage area, a little bit of sitting area. I think they could have made it more homey, but that's nice. Nice size galley, no complaints here. I think this works. Captain's cabin's right off the galley. I think this area should have been the area for the crew, right off the galley. But, you know, this is captain's area. Bathroom, shower. Don't see a shower. Oh, there's a shower right up there. Okay, so I guess that stows itself down on the ground. You stand on the lid of the toilet to take a shower. No mirror up here, kind of weird. I'm sure the captain would want to shave sometimes, right? Evidently, Martha Stewart did not help decorate the ship. I don't know what those are. As we come forward, I think this is where the fish tank is, and I think it just doesn't have any fish or water in it right now. Or is that an outdoor window? I don't know what that is. Maybe it is a fish... I don't know, but there's supposed to be a fish tank in here. No seat for the captain, but still things aren't done. Ooh, the captain's a bit of a drinker in this ship. Bottles of wine. Alright, let's get out. Let's get out of here. And let's go into the galley and then back. We could see one of the turrets right there. Okay, that's the upper turret. Upper turret is a big turret, and then the back end you have smaller turrets. Alright, so we have all these doors in here. These are accesses to the lower decks. Of course, that's the crew compartment. And this one takes you into a Jeffries tube. Let's go into this Jeffries tube, which are where there's going to be components that somebody on the crew is going to have to go into to fix. So let's get out of here. And where does this leave us? It leaves us back on that deck with the... I'll call it the engineering deck. So we went forward. Let's just go back down this section of it. So this should take us... There's a Jeffries tube right into the rear of the ship. We've already been here. There's 2 more escape pods to our left. There is the power plant right there. Okay. And obviously a first aid box right outside of it. So engineer will be in here taking care of things, making sure that the ship is running at optimum performance. Not sure what's back here, but I'm sure there's going to be a couple more diagnostic tools and maybe some features to fill that area in later when they figure that out. Alright, here it looks like a gravity generator. So we go around the other side. It's mimicked on both sides. You have 4 escape pods down here, and then we're going to go back. And on each side of the ship you have a... And I think he flips upside down in here. I think that's what happens. But you have a turret. And he's facing down and facing and firing back and around. The windows are pretty cool. They give some way to look across at the other section to see what's going on. Lots of these cargo nets in here, maybe for equipment. As we go forward, we're going to go back into that central area. To the left, we should have, to the left we have that area, and lift access upstairs. And then the other side is mirrored. If we go forward, we just go right into lift access to the upper deck. If we go left, we go into a Jeffries tube, and then we can go up. We don't want to go up, we actually want to go down. This should take us into the area around the... If I'm right around... Yes, right on the catwalk, or the upper walkway of the cargo area. Then we're going to go left. Come on, that's big, big. Huge. Oh wow, look. There's our gray cat hovering again. So you have 2 things here. This is probably where the cargo master is. And then forward. Well, let's look back again. Cargo master. Well, it looks like a watch on there. Cargo master is going to have control of all the cargo in here and possibly takes the cargo area and depressurizes it to let cargo go into space. Not sure how that works. You have 6, count them, 6 different escape pods in here. Not bad. Probably some other stations and stuff that could go in here. Not sure what this stuff is, but you might have a science station or a repair station, something that might pop up in here. And then you go into the cockpit. Well, this is my least impressive area of the whole ship, but I like it. I like it. It kind of looks like a merchantman vessel. Not so bad. And then, of course, we have the main seat. There's the pilot seat, not the captain's seat. The pilot sits here, and from the outside, it's tough to get a good look at it, but he is tiny in there, just to give you the scale of this thing. Of course, we could see the 4 forward-firing weapons, which would be more for firing on large ships than on small ships. Not saying they couldn't. It's just this ship, you don't expect this ship to be very maneuverable. It's a big ship. Very hard to see how small he is. There's that big turret on the front. And of course on the back we have 2 smaller ones. Well, that's a nice little tour of the ship. So we got to see the cargo area, the engineering area, the crew area, and the cockpit. And there's the captain's seat. You can't sit in it yet. Well, maybe I can't sit in it because this is a loaner ship and I'm not the captain. I will be buying this though. I have a Cutlass Red and some credits. And the minute that this goes for sale, I am picking it up. I think this is going to be a good addition to the game. Especially when they put mining in the game. This ship is supposed to be able to refine the gas from a gas giant into fuel and then refuel other ships. Right now the refueling boom isn't on it. So if we go this way, we go back towards the engineering area. That's a cargo area, and around here is another one of those ocean liner style stairways, which would never exist. You need rails on both sides. If you lost gravity in this ship, there really wouldn't be much of a way to get around in it, except for if you had an EVA suit, because there's no handrails like there are. I mean, if you look at the space station, there are handrails everywhere. The ISS, but here there are not. So yes, it's a very minor pick at this, but their designing could start to incorporate those items into it. And again, here we are in the engineering area. And I know I'm jerking around my movement, but I'm just trying to get a look at the ship, because at this point I didn't know that they were going to let it stay in our hangars. And right now they are for the PTU. When it goes live, the ship will be on sale, and they will force those of us that got to play with it and fall in love with it to buy it, which I think is an awesome marketing tool for selling more ships. Give it to us. Ooh, we fell right through the bottom. That's it. But at least you could get an idea of the scale of things now from the outside. So I'm very impressed with this ship. They did an amazing job at it. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I think that, in fact, it is probably one of the best examples of how well CIG can design a ship. I know I have my issues with it. It needs to be more space-like and less ocean liner-like. But what do these designers really have to go off of? There are no real ships in real life. Pretty much everything that they're thinking about, that they're designing, is coming out of their head. Too many times people are building ships to look like something that would be on the ocean. And they have to remember that in space, things need to be double thick. They need to be smaller inside. They need to have lots of handrails and lots of cubby holes. There has to be a much better use of space. But nonetheless, they did an amazing job here, and I'm very impressed. Let's move on to the Khartu and finish this up. For this next part of the video, we're going to take a look at the Khartu-AL, the flight model that exists right now. So here we are walking up to the Khartu for the first time, and getting into it was actually pretty fun. And we've done this in our hangars for the last month or so. And we get on these floating little stairs, and we get up into it, and it's actually a pretty cool experience getting on here. We hold on to these two liquid or crystalline structures. They look like big giant trackballs. And we get going. And we get going. There was a lot of lag between getting in the ship and actually having it start up. Now, when I first got back into this version of it, every time I tried to go and set my controls, options would lock up. But as of today, I've actually gotten it to where I just moved my control layout from the live server to the test server. So everything should be fine. Flying the ship proved to be a bit squirrely at times, but it hits hard and has very good shields. A couple of things I was disappointed, and I'm disappointed with. So I'm gonna jump forward to something that happened later on. So later on, I jumped into Arena Commander, and I'm sure somewhere I missed this inside of the known bugs, known issues, and that's the guy is in some kind of toe-touching pose where the hands are where they're supposed to be, but the feet never really moved back into place. This is kind of a huge issue inside of Arena Commander. It makes it almost unplayable. I can't see you ever being able to get through an Arena Commander match in this position in the Broken Moon, but you could get a few levels at least. I got to Wave 6, Wave 8, Wave 9 on different occasions. I figured I understand that this is broken. Why not just try it out and see how the ship flies? So now comes to my disappointment, not the bug, because you're going to have bugs in a beta of an alpha, right? It's going to happen. My disappointment is with the flight model so far. They've been hyping this up as a ship that gave the UEE a run for its money. They give us models of it as race winners inside the Murray Cup Racing. And then you get in the ship for the first time, and it goes 220 SMS, or whatever they call it, the speed here. So meters a second, I'm going to call it. And that's kind of a disappointment, because the hype on this ship was supposed to be its maneuverability and speed, and also the fact that there were 2 pilots in there, which Ben said will be fixed. But nonetheless, we have issues here. We have issues with certain things in the flight model. Now, I know the bug with the positioning of the pilot is going to be worked out very quickly, and I know as time goes on, this ship is going to be balanced. There's a lot more to this ship that needs to be done besides that. The unique way that they have of maneuvering the ship, which is by articulating the arms on the ends, make it very squirrely and roll out of control every now and then. Using roll on this ship actually puts it into an unstable flight. It's an unstable flight mechanic, roll, and that's kind of tough. So we don't have buttons right now that could switch between roll and yaw being the way that we have our stick. Like in a perfect world, what I would have for this one is I'd have a switch on my X55 that would set my 2 axes to exchange. Like right now, I have roll on my X-axis and I have my yaw on my Y-axis, or Z-axis, sorry. And for this ship, I probably would change that out. I would make yaw be on my X-axis and roll be on my Z-axis. I don't normally fly that way, but after a while, I started getting good with this. But as soon as I went back to rolling like I'm doing now, every now and then, especially when I was in close quarter combat, I would just get taken. I would just go out of control. So let's move on to the last part, last point I'll make for this particular fighter. So in the absence of any ships, or pirate ships that is, spawning inside of the universe, inside Crusader, there were a couple of nice folks that took out their scythes and went and started attacking all the people that were around the different stations. I forget what station we're near over here. This might be where you go to PvP. And I found that the ship is actually very capable in the hands of somebody that's a good pilot. I can't wait to see what a good pilot would be able to do in this ship. See, there's one of those things I was talking about where if you decide to roll, it goes a little bit squirrely. But in yaw, it's actually pretty good. This battle went on for some time. He would whittle down my rear shields, if you see, but he would never really get through them to do any damage. Eventually, we get his wings off, I should say me, but then a Super Hornet comes in to start helping me, and then a couple other people do. I was just trying to see what the damage dealing capabilities of this ship versus the damage taking abilities were, so I had no real predisposed decision, I guess. I didn't have a predisposed decision to kill this guy. What I really wanted to do was just engage in combat and see how good the ship was against another person. And the fact that he was in a Vanduul Scythe made it a even better situation for me. So this went on for some time. I found that the shield recharge rate on the ship is very good. The shields are very strong. The weapons are kick butt. The M5A lasers, I've gone through all the way up to level 8 and level 9 in Arena Commander. I guess you got to say Wave 8 and Wave 9. And had absolutely no problems. There's that squirreliness again. Do not roll. If you roll, you will go out of control. But I really do like it. I can't wait until some of the deficiencies of this ship are corrected. Like, it's probably going to take them, now that the ship is in the game, it's probably going to take them a little bit to work out the flight mechanics of this one. I don't know if you really want them to fix the problem that it does go out of control when you roll. I think that making you fly this differently, because it is a alien ship, so make you flying it with yaw instead of roll, and I think that might be a better way to do this. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just saying I think that might be one of the things, one of the handicaps you give a ship like this, because I think in the hands of a good pilot, it is going to be overpowered. So my thoughts for this ship: give it a little bit more speed, and well, I'm going to leave it up to the rest of you. Do you think that it does need that roll characteristic to be corrected or not? And if that's the case, then that would be the second piece. And yes, because it is a scout, I do think that they should, at some point in the future, get that second pilot, that second crewman in this ship. Well, that's all I have for the two things today. So we went over the Starfarer in your hangar. We went over the Khartu. I apologized for my mistaken thought that we were going to see a $90 Vanduul blade. I could see why they do it have it at $250, though I will do a separate video for that. If not, I probably already talked about it at the beginning of this one. But remember, there's also a flyable ship sale. All ships are flyable through the 20th, which I believe is today. And I guess that will be it until I talk to Ben later in the week. So get your questions for Ben's Day into me. Remember, you either put them in the comment section below the Ben's Day video or send them to starcitizenaa@gmail.com. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.